This thing of absolute beauty is the brand new SpeedyBee Bee35 3.5-inch ducted Cinewhoop frame kit. And I think it's just about the only real contender for the DJI O3. And it only costs $39.99. Hello and welcome to the Whirly Bloke channel. As usual for SpeedyBee, this quad frame kit is very comprehensive and very well designed and produced. And in the box you get all the frame parts and mounting hardware that, as always, are clearly labelled in their own little bags. And just like the Master 5 HD frame that I reviewed recently, these instructions are exceptional. They show exactly how everything fixes together, and it even has a very useful guide on where to route the battery power cables. And on this side there's a ruler scale so you can measure the recommended lengths for the motor wires of various size flight controllers. Now, I've never seen that before, but it's a very useful and welcome addition, especially for first-time builders. And the frame itself is basically two main parts. You've got this 3.5mm thick carbon frame that's designed to fit 2205 size motors, and it's got press nuts on this side for easy assembly, and it's got holes here to suit square stacks, 20mm, 25.5mm and 30.5mm, and there's also holes to mount a diamond toothpick all-in-one style flight controller if you want. The second part is the duct or the prop guard part, and this seems to be made from some sort of injection moulded polycarbonate, or at least something similar. But whatever it is, it's really tough and not at all brittle. I'm really whacking that. I think this is going to be verging on the unbreakable. Now, SpeedyBee have sent me another one, so maybe I should crash test it. And this has got a groove running all the way around the outside here, so you could add a lead strip if you wanted to. And because of the way this all bolts together, it's a pusher style quad. The motors go here, the props push down. All the electronics, flight stack, the O3 air unit, they're all going to be very well protected under here. Now, this is designed to fit the DJI O3 air unit and camera, and the camera mounts in these very nice CNC'd aluminium parts, and apparently none of the frame or the mount will be in camera view. And there's a couple of different hardness O3 camera mounts that will suit 19 and 20mm cameras. The black ones are harder than these softer yellow ones, so there shouldn't be any jello issues. This is the bottom plate that covers everything up underneath, and again this is CNC'd aluminium, and as well as holding the O3 air unit, it's going to act as an additional heatsink. Nice little touch. This is the battery plate, and it's designed so that you can put the battery this way or this way, and they provide a very high quality battery strap with a metal buckle that's in SpeedyBee's signature yellow to match all the other yellow parts in this quad frame kit. There's a collection of 3D printed parts to mount the antenna, the receiver and a GPS module if you want. And very thoughtfully, the GPS angle can be changed to suit whatever you need. Personally, I like it flat. And this also mounts the O3 air unit antenna, and this makes a very neat, robust, multifunction assembly that goes on the back of the quad. Now, this comes in two flavours, the Bee35 frame for $34.99 and the Bee35 Pro frame for $39.99. And the Pro frame includes this anti-vibration mount for the GoPro that mounts on the front. Very nice, with these rubber suspension sort of silicone pads. Not quite sure what they are, but looks very nicely made. And you also get some extra support for the O3 air unit. And to be honest, if you're thinking of buying this, just opt for the Pro version. It's only another $5. Things may change, but I plan to build this with the SpeedyBee F405 mini stack that I reviewed last month. And I'm going to be using these Zing 2205 pancake style 2300 kV motors. And I'll be using these HQ prop 8 blade 89mm props that just fit in there just nicely. So why use these? Well, I've tried a lot of different motor and prop combinations on these 3.5-inch style Cinewhoops, and I've had a lot of success with this combination. And these props are relatively quiet, which is a good thing because ducted props can get a bit screechy. And I also plan to use GPS and iNav 6.1.1 to make this sort of an Avata competitor. Now, I'm not going to cover the build in full detail because these instructions are just so good, and I shouldn't have any problems, neither should you, but if I do find anything along the way, I'll let you know. So, let the time lapse begin. Well, there we go, it's all done and looking absolutely fantastic. The quality of fit and build is very high, and I didn't really have any issues with this. So let me show you what I've got here. We've got the 8 blade props fitted, which just clear the ducts quite nicely. On the bottom here is this CNC machine plate, which keeps everything nice and tidy and all electronics clear of the ground. Now there is a small metal plate that fixes on the inside there, but I found it's actually easier for me to get to the USB-C socket on the air unit, which is mounted in the bottom here, and the slot for the SD card when that plate isn't in. I don't think that's going to make too much difference. It's a very tidy arrangement, this. I really like it. And the fit and finish, fantastic. No complaints at all. I mean, this looks like I bought one. On the top here, we've got the battery plate with a nice non-slip battery pad, and that can fit either way round. So, not quite sure which way I'm going to go with that yet, but the battery strap slots either that way or this way, depending on what you want. Now at the back, I'm using a Radiomaster RP3 diversity receiver in here. It's difficult to see because it's all neatly packed into this area in here, and there's just about enough room for everything. The O3 air unit, I've got the SpeedyBee F405 stack in there, and the RP3 receiver. And because it's a diversity receiver, it comes with 2 antennas, and these 2 mounts here, which are originally intended to fit a crossfire antenna like this, with a couple of little lugs there on the top of the motors to stop them going down into the props. They're a nice location to fit the 2 antennas on the diversity receiver, and I've got them mounted perpendicular to each other, so we get the best range and performance out of that. This little mount on the back here is for GPS. Now this is a little bit small for what I plan on doing with this, and I'll show you that in a minute. But if you're just adding GPS and no magnetometer, that's absolutely fine, and the cabling goes through here. I've got my cable already wired up for something a little bit more meaty, but you can have any sort of arrangement you like on the back here. This nicely holds the air unit antenna as well. Up the front we've got the O3 camera mounted in these CNC machined brackets, and I've used the two soft mounts on there, and this has a little bit of play in it, which is exactly what you want, and we'll see how we get on with that. I could always replace those or exchange them for the black ones that they supply in the box, which are not quite as soft. Everything screws together very nicely. It's a bit weird this, because what you're doing is building an upside down quad. So if you think about it, the flight controller is screwed to this top plate here, and then you turn it upside down, connect everything up and screw it down with 4 screws there, and these 2 screws hold the front of the plate onto the camera mounts there. If you get the Pro model and you order, you'll get this GoPro mount, which is vibration mounted. These 4 mounting holes here fix it onto there, and it just slots nicely in there. Or you can use another bracket which they supply here, but that doesn't have the vibration mounts. And the Pro unit also includes a whole load of different connectors. Basically, there's a USB-C connector which plugs in there quite nicely, and you've got a JST connector on the back, and they have a series of different ends that you can plug into here to get USB-A or USB-C depending on what you need on your air unit. It's quite a clever idea. I don't need to do that because I'm using a directly wired soldered connection from the flight controller in here, and that plugs into the O3 air unit on the bottom. And although you can't quite see it, the air unit is fixed on here with, let's see if I can find it, this little 3D printed TPU mount with a screw at either end. It's like a sort of high-tech elastic band that's holding the air unit in place, which is quite a neat way of doing things. So that's it. I guess all I need to do now is flash some flight controller software on there and see where we get to. All in all, a very easy, although slightly compact build, but very enjoyable. I've just flashed this with iNav 6.1.1 and done a quick setup and shakedown flight in the garden, and everything is looking very good. And as I expected, these HQ 8-blade 89mm props are very quiet for a Cinewhoop, and using the iNav defaults for 3.5-inch quad, it's flying rather nicely. Now, before I get carried away, I must remember this is a review of this SpeedyBee Bee35 frame and not a tutorial on iNav PID tuning, add magnetometer and GPS configuration and all the other iNav goodness. And as a 3.5-inch ducted frame kit, this is good, and I mean really good. The build instructions are up to what we've come to expect with SpeedyBee, and you shouldn't have any issues. The finished quad, well, it looks stunning and it flies beautifully, and I've really enjoyed the process of putting all this together, and I'm sure you will as well. And it's really a testament to SpeedyBee's endless attention to detail and design. And I definitely recommend getting the Pro version for $39.99. It's only $5 more than the standard one, and you get all the extra parts that makes mounting the O3 air unit these extra cables, and you get the GoPro mount and so on. It just makes mounting the air unit and other VTXs a doddle. It's a no-brainer really. Now I will be doing a follow-up video on this showing how to set up iNav and GPS with this deadly accurate Matek M10 5883 magnetometer and GPS module to get this to behave just like a DJI Avata. So remember to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. And do leave a comment and let me know what you think about this. Your comments are always appreciated and I try to answer them all. Thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.